Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here. This time reviewing on Wonder Woman, DC Rebirth, issue number 8. Now, as you know, the Wonder Woman Rebirth series was meant to simply retcon the New 52 version of Wonder Woman's history and bring about the sort of proper new one, which is not meant to kind of have Firstborn, Seek, Solar and all that, but instead is meant to keep true to kind of more the post-crisis and Silver Age stuff. And this issue is meant to cover the origin of Barbara Ann Minerva, who was meant to be the Cheetah. They did sort of change her origin in the New 52. This one, they sort of changed it again. And the issue starts off how Barbara Ann's father says, "She's too old for such things. You're responsible for my daughter's education, Miss McLeod." And so she does point out that, since the death of Barbara's mother, that it's only her feat of fancy. But he does point out that he's going to, have to cut her from books and everything else and make her see that the world isn't a fun place. And you see Barbara Ann at her residence where she's playing Amazon, and her teacher calls out for her, and she knows full well that her father wants to see her. And her father says, "I've been speaking to Miss McLeod, Barbara Ann." "Yes, father." "She tells me you're doing very well with your studies. A natural for language," she says. And now points out that, you need to start make-believing, and time for make-believe is over. And you can tell he's trying to, help Barbara Ann be a bit more mature, but I think does it a bit the wrong way. So we're kind of shown many years later, where Barbara Ann is at a dig site in Russia, and kind of talks about the proper Amazon history and everything else. And you've got one of her co-workers, Doc Martin, sort of putting it out as well. So after she sees that it started to rain, she decides to call it in for a night, and as soon as she's sleeping, she wakes up and sees that someone's been in her tent, and goes in to investigate, and thinks it's Dr. Martin. And as soon as she looks, she finds it's the Tomb of the Amazon, which is meant to be the 12th one, and learns that there are more that there could be more Amazons out there. So of course quickly makes a break for it as soon as it starts caving in, and manages to get out by an inch of her life. And pretty much they say, "Well, that's that. We can't leave. 200 tons of rock, and Earth begs to differ with you." And so they decide to back off and call it back away. But Barbara Ann decides to stay and shows the evidence, but of course decides to pack up and leave. And you can tell Barbara Ann does a little bit of research, and her co-worker Victor starts to talk with her, saying that she's been looking for her from 5 different pubs, and does get a bit drunk, and pretty much it's clear Victor stole her phone and falls down. But of course Barbara Ann talks with Dr. Martin, and after doing some investigating, decides to find the Amazons on her own. And this causes her to go from mountains, Greece, and Venia, and other places. And you can tell she wants to find the Amazons. And as soon as she heads to the middle of a deserted desert, she finds that Victor has been murdered, and an old lady points out that he's been barred and that, and can sense something in Barbara Ann. So pretty much later on in the night, Barbara Ann has a few drinks and that, and after finding out where the Amazons truly are, it's revealed that the old lady is actually Athena, the goddess of wisdom, with her pet owl. So of course, after managing to get a boat, she manages to find what she's after. And after spending a whole life searching, she believes she's found it, but nothing. And of course this causes her to call out, saying, "Then where the hell are you?" And leaves, saying, "I went the wrong way." And which later turns out to have left a tree. So yeah, the origin of Barbara Ann isn't great, but it's definitely alright. It shows how Barbara Ann is determined to have her ambitions proven right, but I still think they should have had Portia Rich or Deborah to kind of be Barbara Ann's mother. Have it that she tells the origin of the Themyscira to Barbara Ann. Have it as well that we see Barbara Ann studying from college to university, as well as trying to prove Themyscira's real. This really could have been a more like trying to prove that my mother's right sort of story. So I think it deserves a thumbs in the middle. Kind of alright, but kind of okay. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.